This meeting is being recorded by Marshfield Community Media. Is there anybody else in here recording this meeting? I see none. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're going to do a roll call vote for the select board, and then the advisory board is going to do theirs, and then we'll move through the agendas. So I'm going to make a motion for the select board to open this meeting on March 25th at 6:06. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
So
I'm going to make a motion to open a meeting of the Marshfield Advisory Board, March 25th, 6:06. Can I have a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're good.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments? Ashley, did you leave a sheet out? Thank you, Joe.
You're gonna come right there. He's gonna walk right on you.
I'll knock it down. Thank you.
All right, I have 9 names. Here's the deal. We all know this is a big meeting, and it's going to be extensive, so I'm going to adhere to the 2 minutes for everybody and the 15-minute max. So if it can't fit you in, I apologize, but all those speaking, please be quick with your thoughts, and so other people can speak. So I have Mr. Patrick Sullivan.
Okay. Well, thank you. Good evening. My name
Name
is,
and address, please. Thank you.
yes, Pat Sullivan, 1803 Hagar Drive. Good evening. My name is Pat Sullivan. I am the superintendent of Marshfield Public Schools. I am a lifelong resident of Marshfield who is a proud product of Marshfield Public Schools and a former ESP, tutor, coach, teacher, department head, assistant principal, and principal in Marshfield. I'm also a father for 4 students currently in Marshfield Public Schools. In my 30 years of education and 22 working for Marshfield Public Schools, I cannot remember a more pivotal moment than this in terms of its impact on the character and fabric of our amazing school system in town. Thank you, Select Board, for allowing us to have a chance to give you some perspective regarding the impact of cuts that will be necessary at the schools if voting on a full override is not an option for Marshfield citizens, and the burden of school cuts remains at $4.52 million. It is important to consider that Marshfield Public Schools have already made significant cuts over the last 2 years. We have cut 20 FTEs over the last 2 years, equating to $1.6 million in budget cuts. We have made these cuts strategically through attrition so that staff have not lost jobs and so that we have saved the town unemployment costs. Reductions over the past 2 years have impacted teaching at all levels, impacted special education and intervention services, and impacted world language, arts, math, science, nursing, library media, and behavioral supports. The massive cuts associated with an unsuccessful override will decimate programs for our students and change the character and fabric of our schools, resulting in the cutting of 50+ full-time staff, substantial cuts to all departments at Marshfield High School, the elimination of the cluster model in 8th grade at Furnace Brook Middle School, the elimination of music programs district-wide, the elimination of freshman sports, the elimination of some health and physical education positions, the elimination of tech integration at the elementary level, the elimination of math and literacy coaching at the elementary level, elementary class sizes elevating to up to 28 students, potential non-compliance with special education plans due to the cutting of special education.
All right, Mr. Sullivan, 2 minutes is up. Thank you.
I think I would like to be able to continue as a superintendent.
Mr. Sullivan.
of public schools.
Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Sullivan, 2 minutes is up. I already spoke about it. It's, your 2 minutes is up. Thank you. There's others that want to get in. Mr. Sullivan, please.
Discretion, Mr. Chair.
Dr. Sullivan.
You have discretion, Mr. Chair. Robert's Rules of Order give you discretion, Mr. Chair.
We're sitting on the floor for this.
Please exercise.
That's fine. I already spoke. 2 minutes. Superintendent Sullivan.
You're cutting me short?
I didn't cut you short. I gave you 2 minutes. I already spoke about it.
Okay. Well,
minutes.
the town's seeing what you're doing.
Thank you. Sean Costello, please.
numbers to read too.
Yep. I'm right here, potential
Okay,
non-compliance.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sean Costello, Winslow Street. I'm the chair of the school committee. I'm going to continue saying Dr. Sullivan's numbers. Elementary class sizes elevating up to 28 students, potential noncompliance with special education plans due to the cutting of special education and support staffing, and the elimination of some social workers, guidance, and adjustment counselors, a significant reduction in small group supports for students across the district, the closing of an elementary school, redistricting of elementary students across Marshfield, the elimination of some assistant principal positions, and that's just some of the list. I want to make sure folks know that Marshfield is in the bottom 25% of how well we fund our public education. We're 119 out of 149 of similar school districts. 75% of comparable districts have a higher per pupil expenditure than we do, yet Marshfield is consistently rated in the top 60 or 70 school districts in the state. It's dangerous and irresponsible to place any blame for the budget deficit at the feet of the schools, when the schools have been making budget concessions for years, consistently receiving lower numbers than our needs-based budget, yet still making it work. For the first time in recent memory, last year the school budget was less than half the entire town's budget. This while many surrounding towns are approaching 60% of their budgets being devoted to the schools. So how come the schools are expected to account for nearly 60% of what needs to be cut? It makes no logical sense to say the schools are to blame. It's like having costs go up in your home because your electric bill increased by 30%, yet blaming the problem on your water bill. Marshfield Public Schools budget 8 years ago adjusted for inflation would have been $62 million, and today it's $60 million. We've decreased the budget by about 20 full-time positions, accomplished through not filling vacancies and shifting things around, but we're at a critical point. I ask you to remember two things. Number one, these are not numbers on a spreadsheet. These are people who go to work every single day to serve the students of Marshfield, and they deserve our respect, and they don't deserve pink slips. The second thing I'd ask you to remember is that our students are counting on you. They can't be here to speak for themselves today. They depend on us. They can't vote. They need us. This is a critical moment. We must step up and provide for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Ben Raymond?
Ben Raymond, Atwell Circle. My statement is pretty simple. You cannot raise our taxes tonight. And that's not to say please don't. It's that you can't. You can give this town the choice to do so. No one in their right mind blames any of you personally for this. But you cannot make this decision for 26,000 people in this town. Do not take it upon your shoulders and your shoulders alone to cut music programming and freshman sports for kids. Do not take it on your shoulders to pink slip dozens and dozens of educators who devoted 5, 10, 15, 20 years of their lives to the growth and happiness of our children. Do not take it on your shoulders to make every single elementary classroom in this town 28 kids. We can't deliver the IEPs and 504s that way. Do not make a decision that is by right ours as a town, yours. This mess is not your fault. But right here, right now, God is my witness, it is your responsibility. That responsibility is to give it to the town and not decide for us. Before I sit down, I want to tip my cap to some people in this room who warned us about this mess. I am not alone in not really appreciating the tone some of them have taken towards their neighbors in public forums like this one. But we all can and must be kinder to one another. But credit is owed where credit is due. They weren't wrong. And people like me to say that out loud and reach out to them in partnership to figure out how we survive this together without gutting our schools. Please do not create a permanent solution to a temporary problem that put dozens of my colleagues out of work and decimates the education that I moved here for my children to get. Mr. Kelly, Mr. Darcy, Ms. Simpson, I am begging you to do the right thing and give this decision to the town with a meaningful override on the warrant for it to vote on. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Tina Shea?
Tina Shea, Carousel Street. This meeting feels more like a battlefield. It's between making school cuts, so it seems like it would directly impact teachers, or raise taxes and take the money from the homes of the children where they're being raised. So if we're so concerned about the kids, I think we should make it about the kids. Perhaps the answer is more simple if we could all live within our means. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Jackie Mason?
I'm speaking, Jackie Mason, 1415 Ocean Street. I'm speaking tonight as a parent. Let me just start with, no one threatens my child's rights. No one will use my child as a pawn. For years, parents have requested for more access to school committee meetings, budgets, and contracts. In return, many are ignored or unanswered. Then the word override comes along, and the school committee shows up strong, presenting cuts, holding jobs over teachers' heads, programs, supports, and telling families approve this or your child will suffer. That is sick. That is not leadership. That is using our children as leverage, because this didn't happen overnight. The records show a pattern of spending increasing year after year, enrollment declining, classrooms being removed, payroll continuing to grow. Some of our classrooms, like my child, suffers with 24 students. Yep. Administrative compensation, like Mr. Miller's new shiny contract, but you threatened the students. Yes. That is not a surprise. This is my time. Thank you. You're supposed to be a professional. That is years of decisions catching up. Let's talk about facts. In 2005, since 2005, school spending has increased over 23 million. In just 2 years, payroll increased by 4 million. Professional development spending increased 250%. But our children's scores are despicable. Despicable, from 78% to 30. You should be ashamed. That is disgusting. And during that same time, enrollment has declined. Classrooms were reduced, class sizes increased, student scores dropped drastically. Tell me, why are students being asked to take the hit? They are the very reason your roles exist.
Thank you, Jackie. Rick Smith?
Rick Smith, 109 Telegraph Hill Road. Mr. Chairman, why are we not delaying town meeting? You're late on producing a budget, and now you're trying to rush a $7 million decision that will have far-reaching consequences for all residents, from layoffs and service cuts, or in the form of higher taxes. An override is a personal choice. For everybody to make that choice, everybody has to have the information necessary in order to make the right decision. The Select Board's required by law to present a budget on the last Monday of January. The Select Board also has committed itself to transparency. The budget's already late, and the road we're heading down has not been ultra-transparent. We can fix it, though. We can fix it through delaying the financial articles of town meeting. For months, we've known that the financial crisis that is impacting hundreds of towns, not just us, but hundreds of towns across the Commonwealth, was coming for us. Like a storm cloud, everybody could see it. Rising healthcare costs, aging infrastructure, pensions, you name it, unfunded state education mandates, it all added up. We could have been preparing for this eventuality. This could have been an agenda item throughout all the fall Select Board meetings. And after the forecast came up in late December that showed that clearly there was a deficit, we could have been working on that too. There could have been meetings with the school committee to be working collaboratively to prepare for this coming storm, but none of that happened. And now after all of that, you're asking us to make a decision about the future of our town, impacting our fire department, our police department, and the DPW, and impact our wallets, with little to no information with only 4 weeks left. Mr. Chairman, this isn't about override or no override. This is about transparency.
Thank you, Rick. Mr. Wallace Coyle?
Thank you very much. Wallace Coyle, 95 Ashburton Avenue. I just want to pay tribute to an 8th grade student who's alive today because of your fire department and your police department. One of the things that I think is important to recognize is what those people were doing for 24 hours last night and this morning. Nobody was out there saying, it's not my job, it's not my responsibility, I want more money to do this. They were all out there doing what needed to be done. Police, fire, and many other towns that we know helped us. Again, in terms of that process, one of the things we learned from that is when people have a single goal in mind and everybody works towards that goal, things get done. We need to do that. Again, quoting Peter against Peter here, we need to change the culture in the town. People need to look out for each other and not just fall fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Wallace. Pam Keith? Is Pam Keith here? Joe Pasevich.
Joe Pasevich, Wilson Road. Thank you to one of the previous speakers for recognizing that there are people in this town that have been speaking up for a long time. Myself, I've been at it for like 25 years. Every time I'd get up at town meeting to ask questions about salaries, about appropriations, I was faced with ridicule and insults and harassment. But I'm not going to stop, because this is what I am. This is who I am. Call me a fool if you want, but I'm going to keep asking questions. As far as this, and transparency, boy, that's been our number one task. All of a sudden, everybody's real interested. What's motivating these people to be interested all of a sudden? Think about it. Same thing that motivates the taxpayers that are going to facing all kinds of cuts in their households right now and difficult decisions. But at the same time, yes, we haven't been given the information. We have no information. We have no figures. I watched the school committee subcommittee meeting the other night, from the other night. You guys were totally, you had no idea. It was maybe, possibly, we got to revisit. So many uncertainties. And then you throw in the mention of the teacher's contract that's coming up. You don't even have numbers for that. I hope these guys have gotten some of those numbers, because we haven't seen them, and we're being told that the public won't see these documents until Monday. So no, it's impossible for anybody rationally and intelligently to try to make some kind of decision about an override. It's just impossible. But with that word, I just want to make a suggestion and take this into consideration, Mr. Sumner and Mr. Moran. If there is an override on the ballot, please consider a format where you have like a 50% implementation. In other words, a withheld levy limit, so that maybe if there's like a $3.5 million override, there's like a $1 million.
All right, Joe, the 2 minutes is up.
Withheld.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. That's it for the public comment. I do have my chair's comments. I want to express my relief on behalf of the Select Board that Callahan Pierce was found and unharmed. I'd like to thank all those involved in searching for Callahan. That would include the Marshfield Police Department, Massachusetts State Police, FBI, ATF, and any other agency, as well as individuals who participated in the search for Callahan. I ask that all participants in tonight's meeting to not be disrupted as this meeting may go into the late night hours. The Select Board still has to meet and vote on a few items afterwards. I want to thank the employees of Marshfield High School for sending the Select Board their thoughts on where cuts can be made. As you know, this is a decision that can only be made by the school department. This email shows that schools can do a better job in how they are spending the taxpayers' money. This email was unsigned email, but I have no reason to disregard it because it was unsigned. I do believe residents should seriously consider running for school committee now and in the future. If any of our committee members feels they need to take a break, please let us know. And the Select Board will take up matters after the Select Board Advisory Board meeting. Other than that, that's it. Thank you. As we move into Well, Charlie, do you have a town administrator's report, or you want to roll that into opening the advisory board select board meeting?
Yeah, I think I'll wait and make a presentation at that time.
So you want to just roll right into the select board advisory board meeting, then you can do the,
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
great. Thank you.
so, Chris, I'm going to let you take it over right now in regards to it, and go from there, pal.
Okay. First and foremost, I'd like to make a statement on behalf of the, let me have them. I'd like to make a statement on behalf of the advisory board. As many people know, and maybe you don't, we had a meeting last night of the advisory board. We discussed we had some housekeeping things to do and some business to do, but we also had an item on our agenda to discuss the budget process.
Yeah.
And at this point, and Mr. Kelly and the remaining select board members, I'm sure know. I know I wrote an email to Mr. Kelly and the town administrators expressing my concern for the fact that we are the advisory board, and by law, with the law of our town charter, we should have received a budget, been presented a budget the last Monday of January, and now we are sitting in the end of March, and we now are going to see what I hope is a budget, a couple budgets. But at this point, the charter is very clear on this, that we are supposed to have 13 weeks as a board, as the advisory board of this town that has been appointed for us to do our due diligence, meet with town leadership, understand the impacts of things, and especially in this case where we may be looking at, unless we go with an override, and even if we do, there may still be things that greatly impact careers, jobs, people, families. And we discussed it, and as a board, we considered having a formal vote on this. But I think I can say that all the city members that are here today, I think a couple of ours are online, I see at least one, that we unanimously are requesting for more time. And we would like for the select board to seriously reconsider moving town meeting to an appropriate time where we can have the time we need to vet the budget. And again, this is the first time we're seeing a budget. So it's important that we have the time to do our job. And I just wanted to make that statement. If anybody on our board would like to say anything else, they can, if that's all right with you, Mr. Chair. Go.
Yeah, Paul DeCristofaro on George Street. Although the charter does not enforce any mechanism or penalty for being late, our job as the advisory board is to analyze, question, hold public hearings, and prepare recommendations.
Yeah, get on your mic. The mic's a little.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Can't hear me.
You want to try this one? Is that better?
Any better?
You get right up to it.
Okay.
Like American Idol.
Here we go. So the charter doesn't enforce any mechanism for penalty for being late, although we're 2 months late. But our job in this board is to analyze, question, hold public hearings, and prepare recommendations for town meeting. And not having that time really affects the quality of our oversight. Public hearings are compressed and reduces transparency significantly, and the public participation in those meetings. And also, it undermines the select board and the administration's credibility. That's part of the reason we're asking for extension on the town meeting. Thank you.
Peter would like to say something.
Peter Simonelli, Advisory Board. Just a brief statement on what has already been said by the chair and by Paul. Given the limited information provided to date in the absence of a detailed budget in advance, outlining scenarios with real-world impacts of any proposed path relative to taxes, essential services, schools, etc., I personally do not feel that I can responsibly fulfill my duties to advise our constituents or the select board at this time. my estimation, this process has lacked transparency, the transparency required for a decision of this magnitude. And with the accelerated timeline now well beyond the charter's intended deadlines, this process has not allowed for the diligence this warrants, particularly when we're being asked to weigh decisions including $120 million of spending. This advisory board has lost weeks and weeks of time to unpack the budget for the constituents, and through no fault of their own, the constituents are now expected to make a massive financial decision with real-world impacts in mere weeks with little to no added information or clarity from us, other than what we may receive tonight. Out of respect for the residents we serve and live with, who should not bear the consequences of an uninformed and expedited process, I cannot in good faith lend the appearance of an informed consent, and respectfully will have to abstain from voting or advising on any matters presented here this evening. My belief is that this vote should be postponed until the public and the boards are given the clarity, transparency, and time they deserve. Thank you.
Hi, Jan Martin. I just wanted to say that I think it would be important for the advisory board and the town to hear what the incentives are to have the town meeting on its originally scheduled date. Like, what would be the benefit of going forward with that as opposed to the benefit or detriment of delaying it?
Can you answer that, Charlie? Or someone? What's the benefit of holding it now? In April?
I would just say that's an answer that probably should be provided by the board, not me.
Okay.
So,
Chair? What's the benefit?
Benefit is, I think we can do it. Actually, no.
Oh, here you go. Here's your.
So, I mean, one thing is that, speaking to Charlie, is that Charlie thinks this can be done by town meeting, as I spoke to him many times. Sorry, but thank you for telling me. So Charlie thinks this can be done, we can be all set by town meeting to present all this, as well as what we have tonight, and for the board to make final decisions prior to town meeting. The other thing is that if we move this along to another date, especially if there is going to be an override question on the ballot, it would be on its own because we already have town spring election. And to my understanding, from what Nerese said in the past about special elections, it runs us between $12,000 and $16,000, and that's money that we don't have at the moment. So my look at it is that, according to Charlie, is that we should be all set by town meeting, and we're going to have additional expenses that the town doesn't have in regards to the override ballot if the board decides to go through with the override question, in my opinion. Want to make a comment, Steve?
Yes. So my thoughts are, I don't see how it's tenable to present a budget to town meeting in April if the advisory board feels like they didn't have enough time to make an informed decision. So I think what we should do tonight is something that we have precedence for, which is last year, right? We conducted some business at town meeting in April, but we did all the budgetary and financial articles in June. So I think that's a decision that we should make tonight and something we should move forward with. Because when I'm getting the same feedback from people all across the political spectrum who never agree on anything, but they agree that they need more time to wrap their head around the budget, to ask the questions that they have and get the information that they need to make an informed decision, I think that we should postpone the budget articles to June, just like we did last year, because I want people to feel like they had the information that they needed in order to make an informed decision. And yes, while there is a cost to having an additional town meeting, that's in the grand scheme of a multi-million-dollar decision. So yes, it might be $15,000 to have another town meeting, but this is a multi-million-dollar budgetary decision. So I think in relative terms, that's a worthwhile road to go down. And I want to point out, too, that we've been operating for 11 months with 2 retired part-time town administrators. And I want to point out that they've been put in an impossible situation, and the work that they've done under a ton of constraints and our entire financial team has been incredible. And I think they would like to have more time as well, to make sure that everything is buttoned up, because this has been a time crunch and it's a lot of work they've had to do in a short period of time with, frankly, one hand tied behind their back. So it's not their fault. We put them in a tough situation, and I think there's a huge debt that we owe them for the work that they've done and all the things that they've helped to clean up for the town. That'll put us in a strong footing going forward. But I think that we should vote to postpone the budgetary articles at town meeting in June. And another point of feedback that I'm getting is, why is there an A budget and a B budget? Why are we only getting a binary choice where it's all spending cuts or a combination of new revenue and spending cuts? Town meeting is our legislative body, and they want to have the opportunity to do a full deliberation for the deficit that the town faces. And so I think in the spirit of giving them choice in allowing them to do a full deliberation over the budget process, I think that there should also be a C budget that we propose tonight that includes the full deficit amount, because that's something that people want to have a choice about. They want options. They don't want a binary choice when it comes to the deficit and a potential override. So I think that's something we should also do tonight. I think it's important too, because on the floor of town meeting, you can reduce a budgetary number by any amount that you want, but you can only increase it by a maximum of 10%. So if we at least have a C budget that starts with the full deficit, the voters of town meeting can deliberate and reduce that number. So maybe town meeting would feel that perhaps 5 million or 4.5 would be an appropriate number. But if we only give them the option of 4 million, it's impossible to get to that point. So my two driving thoughts tonight were postpone the budgetary aspects to a town meeting in June to give everybody more time to put as much information for the public as possible, and to put together a C budget so that town meeting has options and can do a full deliberation. Thank you.
I also agree that I feel like we should delay because, again, we are hearing something similar from everybody. I also think it will give us time, depending on the override, the percentage of the override, whether we go with an override, the decisions that are made. We don't want to rush them, similar to the fact that we don't want to rush finding a TA and just getting any person. I think we need to find the right person that's going to come in and be creative and think outside of the box. And so we've taken our time with that, and I think we need to take our time with this. And Charlie did mention this at the forefront. And as far as the cost goes, I think it's worth pushing it back to have everybody feel comfortable with the decisions we're making.
Ready?
Anything?
All right. So my name is Charlie Sumner. I've been serving as your interim town administrator since the last week in October. And of course, Peter Moran is also serving as a co-town administrator. He started last spring, worked through October. And then when I went away for the winter, he came back on board. You know, the reality for me was I was hired at the end of October. I was supposed to work through January 20th. And at that time, we had hoped to hire a new town administrator. That didn't happen. The search was not successful. I frankly do go away for the winter. I was away for the winter. I worked remotely, part-time, but it's been really challenging, really stressful. And, you know, the reality is when you talk about municipal budgets, it's heartbreaking what we're dealing with here. And, you know, I had a 40-year career in local government, and, you know, the reality is I know how hard employees work and the services they provide to communities. And as I say, this is really the most difficult and unfortunate situation I've ever been in my whole career. I'd like to give a small PowerPoint presentation for the people who are online and the people in the room, just to give a quick sense of, oh, they can't bring it up on screen? 3 minutes?
Okay. I have another one, though. Help desk? Send it to the help desk? Okay.
Okay, so I'll stall for a moment. I'd like to give a small PowerPoint presentation that talks about some of the critical issues that we've been dealing with. Now, relative to the budgetary process that we've been working on, you know, honesty is the best policy. When I did start working on this right after I finished the financial revenue and expenditure forecast and started working with Meg LeMay, our town accountant, on the town budget, the fact of the matter is we didn't have a town budget. And so we didn't have a budgetary document that provided all of the detail that's necessary to build a strong and informational document. So we really had to create that from scratch. And that has been really a Herculean effort on our part. We have made a lot of progress. You know, I got back about 3 weeks ago, and then Meg and I were working remotely through the winter. So that has added to the problems that we've been dealing with. And so I would like to apologize to the advisory board, certainly. But the fact of the matter is we've been working in earnest on it, and we have made progress, but it has been a struggle and it's been slow. And the idea as I prepare, Meg and I prepare this budget document, is that we want something that you can build on going forward. That in that budget document, you can see all of the detail of every department, what the wages are, what the stipends are, what special pay provisions are, what the various expense categories are, not just a salary and an expense. You deserve to see it all, because you should be critiquing in that and reviewing that, because you are, you know, certainly reflecting on the needs of the community, that these monies are being spent in an appropriate manner. So anyway, that's sort of part of the process that we've gone through. And let me just take a few minutes and talk about the fiscal 2027 structural deficit. As I say, I got here at the end of October, and I immediately had some concerns about some of the fiscal issues that I saw in talking with Meg and Peter Moran. So we really spent a fair amount of time in that 2 months that I was here. And we found a number of primary drivers to the FY27 budget deficit. And one of the significant ones, the revenue projections were overstated. We were using revenues that were no longer functionally sufficient to meet the needs. As a matter of fact, when we went to set the tax rate in the fall of 2025, local receipts is a large part of our revenue base, almost $13 million. And we realized that the local receipts were not sustainable, that they were not built on a strong foundation. And the only reason, frankly, we didn't have to go back and hold a special town meeting to reduce spending is new growth, new construction in your community far exceeded what the estimate was. But our local receipts, which are a vast category of about 15 revenue categories, were totally insufficient, and we had almost $1 million deficit in those revenue projections. Now, some of the other factors that we worked on, thank you. Some of the other factors that we worked on was the unfunded South Shore VOTEC membership. The community made a decision, I think back in 2024, to join the South Shore Vocational Technical High School. And this has nothing to, I don't want it to be taken as a criticism of that program, because I'm a huge supporter of vocational technical education. But when the town voted to join the VOTEC system, it comes with costs. And so there are operating costs that are in the range of $650,000.
Actually, it's full amount. Because keep in mind, it wasn't in the budget at all last year. So that's really the full
Yeah, so the full costs in '27 for the participation in the VOTEC are $1,266,000. So right away, you know, we had local receipt problem, we had new high costs for the vocational technical school and no revenues to support it. And what I always used to do when I was working, I'm from Cape Cod, I was an administrator in Brewster for about 30 years, is if I was going to join the VOTEC, I would get an override for the debt and the operating costs. We didn't do that. So that created a huge problem. The other thing, as Meg and I were looking at the fiscal picture for the town, is that you were using a lot of one-time revenues to pay for annual operating costs. And, you know, it feels good the 1 year that you do it, but it immediately creates a structural deficit for the following year. So, and I think the other thing that we'll talk about on the slide, the understated financial assumptions. And the, for example, overlay reserve and is paid. So when we issue tax bills, people can appeal the values that we assign for their homes. They can appeal that if the assessors grant an abatement, which is perfectly fine, we have to have funds to pay for that. So we were budgeting $500,000 for that, and the costs really were like $900,000. So we've had to, and of course, we have a wonderful exemption program, which town meeting has adopted a number of wonderful programs to help those more needy in your community. That has to be paid for too. So I've increased overlay reserve from like $500,000 to $900,000. So there's a $400,000 problem that was created. And of course, you know, raising fixed costs affect everybody. Pension, healthcare, special assessments have really rocked not only the school, but the town. We're seeing 10% increases in pension, 10% increases in healthcare costs. So these are a real problem. So anyway, as I had mentioned, the revenues projections that we were using we had to reduce those really by about $969,000 because the revenues were not there to support the original assumptions. And the other thing that has been a bone of contention in your community for many years is you have 3 enterprise funds, water, wastewater, and solid waste in the Department of Public Works. And the town, provides services to those enterprise funds. And so within their rate structure, they raise money to reimburse the town for that cost. Now, Meg and I, there's been a lot of conflict over many years about what is the right methodology to use for indirect costs. Meg and I spent a lot of time before I left for winter vacation looking at indirect costs, and there's a state DOR manual that gives great guidance on how to figure out indirect costs. So we have recalculated those indirect costs. We are still in conversations respectfully with the Board of Public Works. But the fact of the matter is, even with the numbers that we've identified, the indirect cost revenues that we get from the enterprise funds have decreased by almost $1.4 million. I'm sorry, $440,000. So that's another revenue loss that the general budget has for the town. And of course, I had mentioned before this over-reliance on other finance sources. You know, we do have some special revenue categories. One of those is solar revenues. And over several years ago, the town had built up a bit of a reserve in that account, but we used that money in a rapid manner, and we depleted those resources, so those monies are no longer available. So that's been another issue on these other financing sources, and I think when we look at all of our categories, those revenues have decreased by about $400,000 as well. I had mentioned the South Shore Vocational Tech, that's almost $1.3 million that has added to the structural deficit. And then I'll talk about it at the end of the meeting, but it's a ticking time bomb, is that in fiscal 2029, the total impact with enrollment and the debt for the new South Shore Vocational Technical High School is $4 million. We have no solution for that. Town's going to have to deal with that. So I bring it up because it's something you're going to have to deal. It's already impacting you. The impact is only going to get worse. Anyway, there were a number of one-time revenues that were used for ongoing operational costs. And, so we have school resource officers, which I think are important and necessary for the well-being of our community. Those were paid with free cash, but they're not a one-time cost. They're every year. The facilities operating budget, we paid for half of which is shared between the schools and the town. We paid for half of that in the operating budget, and the other half we raised in the fall using free cash, one-time revenue. The Munis software, the town back in a few years ago, I think 3 years ago or so, 4 years ago, 21, decided to transition to a new financial software package, Munis, which is a worthwhile endeavor. And we're still working on that, and we're making slow but deliberate progress on a really complicated project. But those costs are in the range of $330,000 a year for that software. We had an article, the implementation article that I'll talk about later on. We had an implementation article back in the beginning that was about $1 million. We've been using the implementation money to pay for the annual software maintenance costs. It was not, in my opinion, it was not the right thing to do. That money has to be built into the town budget. And then, of course, in the October town meeting, the town settled a 3-year retroactive collective bargaining agreement with our fire union. And I have no criticism of the contract settlement, but it was $1.1 million. We used free cash. Free cash is a one-time revenue source used to pay for a cost that's going to be ongoing. So all of those areas that I had mentioned come up to a $2.2 million structural gap. Now, I had already talked about overlay reserve. So, that's about $324,000. And then, of course, healthcare at 10%, pension at 8% adds $1.75 million to the town and the school shared costs. So anyway, the key things that I wanted to mention here, the deficit is structural. It's due to poor revenue assumptions, funding practices that were not best practices, adding new expenses without corresponding funding sources, and of course fixed costs that are beyond the control of the town and the school. So as I've been working on this, we've really, and I sort of my defense, right? Why am I late? But we really have been trying to build more sustainable solutions, more accurate and realistic revenue projections, aligning our expenses with reoccurring revenues, and careful evaluation of new financial commitments, and ongoing financial monitoring and planning. So, as I say, it has been Herculean what we're dealing with. All through the winter, even when I was away, Meg and I would talk just about every day, and trying to deal with these problems. And I do apologize. We are way behind. But I think that, you know, if we divorce ourselves from the huge structural deficit we have, all of these actions are going to put you in a better place going forward. And having an accurate, complete revenue and expenditure forecast in the fall is the critical start of this conversation. But anyway, that's where we are today, and I'll stop right there for a moment.
Thank you.
Okay, Charlie, so the agenda is to provide a budget A presentation, a budget B presentation.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. So.
I had a couple questions.
Oh, I'm
on your
sorry, yeah.
presentation. Just some of the stuff I've heard on your presentation there. I want to be clear on the enterprise funds. It says 400 overstated. Is that based on what rate recharge and what it costs is 400? Because the reason I asked that, one of the things about, we talk about budgets every year, every single year with DPW, they need to go back in to get some more funds for enterprise, for
Yeah.
trash and solid waste and so forth.
Yeah,
The other area that you're talking about is getting these free cash expenditures into operating budgets where they should be.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering where we're at. I mean, how far along are we at? Because I know, Megan, we really appreciate the hard work you've been putting in. We've had many discussions about the charts of accounts. In your email you sent out a while back, you had to create a whole new sewer chart of accounts to clean that up. But it is frustrating. We've been Munis 5 years. And in my career, we've done multi-billion-dollar corporations in 6 months in a transition in financials. So that's where I was at is, for example, in Munis, how many modules have we purchased and how many have we actually using?
So as of right now, it's just the accounting module. So the town did make a decision several years back to basically go for every module. And that is an ill-advised decision because, especially with Munis, you should roll them out. You should have one.
I had that conversation with Patrick 5 years ago.
Yeah, do one, make sure it's successful, then the next one, because what Munis does is if you sign up for all of those modules, they're expecting you to implement, and if you haven't, they don't care. They're going to keep assessing you a charge. So this is something I've been working on with our Tyler rep, is to, because this was the first year that I received the invoice. I reached out to our rep, and I talked to her and I said, look, we're not even using these modules yet. So we've had conversations, but like the other side of the conversation was, we understand you're going to keep charging us. We need to start moving and implementing them. So accounting is implemented. That was fairly disastrous, and I have done a lot of work in terms of cleaning up the accounts and how the information is flowing. Next one is cash. So we're at a point where we're just about to implement cash, which will be extremely important in terms of efficiency and posting cash receipts. And then tax is going to be delayed further, no fault of the towns, because during COVID, many communities opted to use their funds, their COVID funds, their ARPA funds, to implement Munis. So they got very bogged down with a lot of implementation. So we're looking at probably August of this year, starting the implementation, and then it's like a year where you're like implementing and then you're running parallel systems. So we will eventually land with accounting, cash, and tax and utility billing for the enterprise funds.
Well, we are paying for the annual subscriptions on many modules that we haven't even started.
I have been working with them.
Outside of financial, not
Right, yeah.
just your department, DPW, work order systems, so forth.
Where I can push them, I've pushed them to decrease it, but there's only so far because at a certain point, they're going to say you either need to cancel it, and if we really want to use those modules, we would have to, again, pay the implementation cost. So it's put us in a very difficult position because it's either pay for something you're not using or cancel and have to pay the re-implementation cost.
Okay, because building those budgets and historical data, if that was all in place, those budgets could come together much easier, right?
Yeah, and I think next year will be much easier because This took a tremendous amount of work to put together structure, and I'm not sure that people understand that there was no structure, there were no work papers. Everything that we've done had to be created from scratch, which was that time-consuming, but also it will make next year a lot more easy and a lot more efficient.
Thanks.
And if I could just, I would just say, I've been retired for 10 years, but I've done interim work in 5 communities since I retired. This is certainly my most challenging, position that I've had because of these issues. But I do want to say, too, about the financial team that you have here. You've had a tremendous amount of turnover in your treasurer, collector's office, and in your accounting office. And I just want to say, the people that you have now, you should be grateful for. I've worked in many communities. We have a team that I have a tremendous amount of confidence in, and I think we're finally at a place that we can tackle a lot of these problems. But continuity in these positions is really important. And of course, finding a new town administrator is not only important to me, but it's important to the community, because we need to finish, to me, I was always task-oriented. You have a problem, you solve it in a manner that's deliberate and thorough and has longevity to it. And I think those elements are in place, but I say you still got a couple of years of hard work to do. So you don't turn the light on and it doesn't happen overnight, but you have some of the critical infrastructure in place to do this right. I wanted to go back to the indirect costs. And indirect costs sort of have 2 elements to it. The commissioners of public works have had grievances with how the town has calculated indirect costs for a long time. And I think there was a basis to their concern. So Meg and I originally looked at the indirect costs using the DOR formula. And in the formula we adopted ended up with a decrease, i.e. the town is getting less money through the enterprise funds to subsidize the budget by about $143,000. I had used a number of 440 earlier, and that's because the water, sewer, and solid waste also provide services to the town and school. And so they should bill us, just like a homeowner gets a bill for water, a homeowner gets a bill for wastewater and trash, the town should too. So it's a combination of those 2 elements. But I think that in the commission, respectfully, the commissioners still have a grievance with a couple of aspects of our indirect costs, and we hope to meet with them before town meeting to talk about that further. But they're modest in a relative way compared to the journey that we've been on. So I just wanted to try to fully answer that.
And I do agree, seeing the work that's been done, especially in the accounting side, chart of accounts, certainly has been improving over the last few years, and getting all this free cash into operating budgets is a big step too.
Yeah.
So I agree, yes, we're moving in the right direction, but we have some tough decisions in front of us.
Yeah. Okay, may I just continue? Sure. Yeah. So let me just talk about Budget A versus Budget B. And this is just, I just want to make it high level, because I'm not going to get into any detail tonight, because we have a lot of other things to do. But we finally got to the point where we have a town budget, which is the town budget.
The town, which one for A or for B?
A, go with A first. Yeah, so we finally are going to be able to present to the advisory board and the selectmen a town budget, which is $27,527,828. And then the school budget is the 50s at the moment. We understand it to be $57,734,305. So we'll give you a lot of detail going forward on the town budget, and you can work independently with the school budget. But this will be a complete breakdown of of all your town departments' salaries and expenses. Now, that A budget is creating a situation where we would have to cut $7 million, we'd have to cut $7 million out of this expenditures. Peter, on doing the A budget, this would be the reduced budget, right?
Yeah, so that number, the
What's-
27 million I gave us, this is 27 million is Peter.
Charlie, Meg, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is there-
we have the schedule in the
Is this
packet.
it? Just like that? It's the
If
back?
you- Yeah, if you could go over those, Meg, you know those numbers better than I do.
All we have is
So it's, sorry, this document's going to need work. I think sometimes as an accountant, I go into this mode of, I need to make sure numbers tie out, and I forget sometimes of how it's going to be received. So,
Is this not in the appendix? Do
It's-
we have to get it from here? Or?
so if we're looking at the town school budget, look at the revenue forecast. It has the numbers right there,
We don't have that.
second side.
Is
But
that in
this,
that
but
stack?
this revenue forecast is presented as though there's no override.
It's this. It's at the back. It's got
The
the-
bottom line on yours is what? The bottom line of that two-page,
Yes,
I'm confused right now.
on page,
123?
no.
Yeah, so the total would be the 123, 899, 411,
Thank you.
841.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is what we're calling the A budget, all right? And we'll, I'm not in the place where we can talk about a lot of detail of that, but that would get the town and school budget, makes significant cuts to those budgets, so we do not need an override. I'm not recommending that, but that's what,
appendix, yeah.
the number that we would get to avoid a Proposition 2.5 override. Now, I was working on what I call the B budget, and I've said in a couple of emails that I've been sending out to people is, that would assume a $4 million override. That's just Charlie's budget. There has been no public discussion about that, but in my mind, I was like, oh, when I was away, what would that cost people, a $4 million override, and that would be $82.50 per $1 million, so about $340 for a homeowner with a house and at the valuation of about $750,000. So so anyway, that.
You're looking for the town's share on that one?
Yeah, that's okay. So that's where we have two budgets. Now, what Steve Darcy talked about a little bit was having another budget, which would be a C budget, which is total spending that the schools need, the town needs, that doesn't need an override, and that would be that would be about a $7 million override.
So it would need, but it'd be 100% over,
Right,
versus 4 million.
that's right.
So, is that something that would make sense, because. I know I'm usually super loud. Wouldn't that be something that would make sense for the townspeople to be able to see? Yeah, so Mr. Darcy said earlier, and they were discussing postponing town meeting, that there could be an option, a C option, which would be, right now you're looking at an A option, which is no override, 100% cuts, right? No override, no tax increase, 100%. Getting to a number would be cuts. Second option would be option B. That's a $4 million override, and obviously there would be some cuts,
Yeah.
right? Because you're still $3 million-ish away. Then option C would be a $7 million override, or 7.1, whatever-ish, and there would be no cuts, or no additional cuts to hit the number.
Right.
So, I don't know, I mean, we are talking about our legislative branch of the town. Would it make sense for our townspeople to see that option?
Eric, can I speak?
I mean, I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, so I think that, as I say, when I talk about a Charlie budget, I don't do that in jest, but,
Right.
you know, that's the problem, is I created that artificially, right? So I don't know right now what the select board would endorse relative in override, or if they want to endorse an override. So that's a direction I need from the board. But, you know, that would be our departmental request line item on here, that's on that sheet. That would be no Peter cuts, which is the A budget, no Charlie cuts, which is the B budget. And that would be fully funding the departmental budgets and needed override.
The only thing I would say in that is you do have the departmental request for the town. It does not include the schools, so we could plug in the school's full request as well.
Yeah, yep. So we could do that. I think the challenge that we're having right now, from a kind of workload stress standpoint, is we have to send, if we're going to have town meeting on the 27th, which we're intending to do, I think we have to do, we can go into that later, we need to send this budget to the printer tomorrow.
No.
That's what we got to do. So that's the stress that we're operating under. So could I create a C budget alternative, a budget A, a budget B, a budget C? I think we could do it.
Like tomorrow?
Well, we would be taking this thing, right?
Charlie, excuse me.
Markets are closed, Charlie.
Can I say something?
I'm not trying to be, I appreciate the work, okay, but I'm a realist, okay? I'm a businessman and a realist, and I'm just saying, as someone who's run multi-million-dollar companies, I don't see how this is possible.
Yeah.
Okay, I just don't.
Yeah, it's,
So I need to see that, or I'm assuming I'm speaking, anyone else can speak up on my board that they want, but I think I'm speaking for all of us.
yeah, it's Herculean. I guess the question I would have is for town council, relative, if we're holding town meeting on April 27th, isn't tomorrow the deadline that I have to meet to get this thing, the warrant finalized?
But based on, the deadline based on what?
Well, when we print the warrant, we have all the warrant articles, and we have the budget document in there.
No, I know that, but who sets the deadline for this?
What, I think it's in your charter, right? Yeah.
So we've already missed the deadline for the budget, which is in the charter. We missed the opening and closing of the warrant, which is in the charter. And we had town administrator for longer than 4 months, which is also in the charter. So why are we so worried about this being from the charter? I mean, the charter is basically our Constitution, as everyone knows. It's our Constitution.
Yeah.
So we are ignoring parts of our Constitution, but we're going to rush a budget process because we have to make the printer.
Yep. So I'm going to, I don't know your town charter.
I know you don't. So I'm telling you that's
So
the town charter.
I need help from council on that.
Okay. Council, am I correct?
We've missed the deadlines, which exposes us to someone filing a complaint for declaratory judgment, forcing us to do that. That has not happened. Someone could complain to the Attorney General and say that we didn't meet our deadlines, and they would probably issue us a letter directing us to comply, and if we don't, then they could take action against us. So the answer is, could we do it? Sure. We've been missing these deadlines all the way along. There's only one other deadline that state law says that we can't do, and that is, call a special town meeting with less than a certain day's notice, and I can give you that in a moment if you want. But we've missed all the deadlines.
Yeah, so, thank you. So, I've been operating on, I'm trying to meet this deadline mindlessly.
It's not your responsibility.
So anyway.
Right? It's the select board's responsibility to make sure we hit these deadlines. The charter makes it clear it's the select board. The select board presents the budget, not you, Charlie. The select board presents the budget to the advisory board. The select board opens and closes the warrant, and the select board has been told that, or it's in our charter, that a temporary town administrator can only be here for 4 months. So it's not your fault. Don't apologize for something you're not responsible for. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I mean, we have legit concerns. We're not going to be able to review. We are not going to be able to vote on a budget tonight. There's no way we're voting on a budget.
Thank you. So anyway, if I'm going to have an A, a new B, or an A, B, and a C, having more time, if you want a full funding option, would be a great relief. I can't begin to tell you how much stress we've been under.
Charlie, the last time we had a discussion in regards to the override, we were going to A, B because A was going to be a definitive no override, I believe, right?
Right.
And B was the fact, because we didn't need a C, was because it was going to be up to us to establish the number if we decided to go forward with an override. So that is why there's no C, because it was just A and B. It was going to be up to the select board
That's right.
to decide that number.
Yep.
Correct?
That's right.
So how much, I mean, nobody has brought this up in regards to, at least our members and all that, that they wanted to see what it would look like to the whole 7.5 million. I mean, how much work is that going to be just to pull that off in regards to showing, I mean, you already got a 4 million number showing, to my understanding, right? So what's that 7.5? And the whole thing is that I don't even know if we have to show a C, because I don't know where all three of us stand in regards to what number we're at. We could be at 4 million and then we don't even need a C.
Can I speak?
You want to speak,
Yeah.
Trish? Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to speak plainly about why I'm struggling to support an override that raises taxes indefinitely. Right now, I pay $11,000 in taxes. And I want everybody to remember that we are going to be asked to pay a debt exclusion for the VOTEC. So our taxes are never going to go down. They're going to raise up. So higher than 11,000, which I'm already struggling with. My mother lives in this town too. And then I'm being asked now to put about 500 on that. And then we're asking for a debt exclusion because of the VOTEC. And then we'll be asking about another debt exclusion because we have aging buildings. So for years, our town has overspent, operated inefficiently, and relied on the mindset of this is how it's always been done. That approach is no longer sustainable and has led to the structural financial challenges we face today. We need to fix the root problems first, streamline operations, modernize our systems, and manage town government responsibly. Our new town administrator will help reset expectations and build a long-term plan, but meaningful change requires participation from every department. Without reforms, we risk ending up like Hanover, which passed an override last year, yet still finds itself in financial distress. Raising taxes without addressing systemic issues will not solve them. The Select Board, Accounting Department, and Treasurer's Office have taken criticism for pursuing reform, but change must start at the top, not with cuts to teachers, firefighters, DPW workers, or police officers who keep this town functioning. Many of these departments are already stretched thin. I also understand firsthand the cost of poor management. I lost my job at UMass Boston in 2016. I received a pink slip because of mismanagement of budgets. I spent years as a public elementary school teacher in Norwell, receiving 0% raises. Nobody in this town knows what it's like to have a 0% raise. And 2 years ago, our fire chief was replaced by someone earning $50,000 more than he was with less experience. These experiences shape why I'm here and why I insist on accountability. 2 weeks ago, I asked department heads for a list of grants currently being pursued. To date, I've received only 2. If we are not aggressively seeking outside funding and improving efficiency, we cannot turn to residents asking for higher taxes. We must also evaluate realistic cost-saving measures before reaching into taxpayers' pockets. If a deputy position in the fire department or captain position in the police department becomes vacant through retirement, we should carefully assess whether that role is needed to be filled. Our school spends $50,000 annually on professional development. Is this essential? Because as a school teacher, I can tell you a lot of it felt like a waste of my time. Over time, new administrative positions have been added across departments. Are any redundant? And with numerous stipends layered on top of regular salaries, can some be consolidated or restructured? After last year's significant raises, we should also ask whether those in top-level positions are willing to accept reductions before considering cuts to the frontline staff. I'm willing to forego my annual $1,000 I make for this job. What sacrifices are others prepared to make? We must all take responsibility, work together, and be honest about the true state of finances. It is unfair to raise taxes now only to find ourselves in the same position next year. Moving forward, I would like to see a comprehensive townwide salary study, staffing study, and annual performance reviews for all administrative positions. And people putting out the job fear, loss, look and see where they fit into this problem. Okay, this didn't happen overnight, but the people that are saying we're cutting teachers' jobs, DPW workers, where were they when we were going through issues? Thank you.
I just,
causing cancer, you got to treat the cancer and survive, then deal with the
I just want to say, at least with Chris's comments in regards to the select board, that, even though there's a charter provision in regards to 4 months for a temporary town administrator, all three of us were not happy with what was presented to us. So the whole thing is that, like I said before, I do believe there needs to be charter change, language and everything, and I've fully gone through, because the charter is inefficient, in my opinion, and it doesn't, like you mentioned, Chris, it says 4 months. Well, the whole thing is that when the previous town administrator walked out the door, it put us in a precarious position. And the whole thing is that when we were presented with candidates, Trish, Steve, and I did our due diligence in reviewing those candidates. All three of us were not happy with them, all right? So the whole thing is that if all three of us were not happy with them, then that should be the decision regardless of what the charter says, because why are we going to hire somebody and then all of a sudden find out that we're not happy with them and then get rid of them? So that's the thing that needs to change in the charter itself. And the whole thing is that Charlie and Peter and the staff, Meg, Ashley, Danielle, everybody, has been doing their best to put this together. And the whole thing is that I have put in countless hours over the last 3-4 months, I would say, in regards to what's going on. Now, people want to point the finger at me, that's fine. But you know something? Nobody's sitting in this seat right now. Nobody's sitting in Steve's seat right now. Nobody's sitting in Trish's seat right now. The whole thing is that we're doing everything that we can. And the whole thing is that, like Meg said, everything that we're doing right now is going to set everything going forward for the future for a smooth operation. There are things that need to be done in regards to departments and all that need to be addressed. And once we get a new TA in here, which we will get one this year, I believe, because the list of candidates I saw have some, there's a few of them that have some damn good qualities that I think that will set us in a good motion going forward. So everybody can easily step on their pine box and criticize us. We've all been doing our best to do this. I understand that the charter says this, the charter says that. After the town meeting, depending on when we have that, I do certainly think that Trish and I, as well as whoever's elected for the next select board spot, certainly needs to take up the town charter to review that. And then everybody here can put their thoughts in regards to what needs to change and maybe take out of it. So I understand nobody's happy in regards to this process. We're not happy, but you know something? We're all doing our best to work through it. And I agree with Trish to a degree. I don't know if I want to give $1,000 back, but I think I would. But the whole thing is that if you look at that, I think it's $1,200 for the chair and I don't know, just over $1,000 for you two. The whole thing is that I'm negative territory. When people ask me how much I get paid, I go, I'm negative minimum wage right now because of the amount of time I put in here. So I put in considerable amount of time.
Well, select board's not really supposed to be a full-time job, Eric.
Yeah, you're right. But the whole thing is that's the whole thing. But the situation that we're in,
for the money either. Nobody does it.
No, you know something? That's the problem is that we don't pay this position enough for people to do it. Oh, here we go. Now everybody's showing their true colors.
All right, so hold on a second. I just want to
thank you for that outburst.
I just want to say one thing. Eric, give me the mic. I just want to say one thing. Oh, why's it off? Just want to. So listen, the reason I said that about the town administrator search was not because you didn't hire one in 4 months. I understand, and I wouldn't want to hire someone I didn't think was the right person. The reason I said that is taking it back to the budget. Why are we in a hurry to get the budget printed when we didn't meet other charter conditions? I'm not talking about a failure of that. I would do the same thing. So you're misunderstanding what you're not even misunderstanding. I'm not. That's not why I said that. I said it because we have multiple things that we didn't hit, and it's due to a lot of things. We're working with temporary town administrators. Turnovers in the budget. We've heard it all tonight. All I'm saying is, why are we in a hurry to cram a budget together that is so impactful? It's going to impact people. And I do think that people have been through tough times. A lot of people have been through tough times you may not think have been through tough times. They may not look like they've been through tough times now. But there are a lot of people who have been through tough times. So to say that no one else has been through tough times is not really realistic. I think what I'm saying is, why are we cramming a budget together and saying we have to print it tomorrow? I was in the newspaper business. I would never let a story go unless we vetted it, fact-checked it, made sure it was ironclad before we put it in print. Because, it isn't prudent, it's not smart, and it's not good business. So, will somebody turn me off? I don't know, probably.
Chris, here's what I want to say to you.
Say it.
Nobody rushed this because that's why everybody's questioning it right now. Charlie, Peter, Meg, everybody else wanted the extended time so they could take their time to do a proper and thorough job on the budget. Yeah. And they are very confident that they have what they need right now. And the whole thing is that when I talked to Charlie, I said, are we going to be ready by town meeting? Charlie was the utmost confidence that we would be. So in my opinion, delaying town meeting for this is unnecessary.
You're wrong. Wrong.
Hold up, one last thing, okay? And I didn't want this to turn, and this isn't a debate. I'm not trying to debate, point fingers. I'm really not. I'm trying to look at where we are tonight, sitting here, and where we need to go. And what I'm looking at is, I think the people of Marshfield, this isn't taxation without representation, okay? Everybody's going to have a chance to come to town meeting, cast their one vote. Everybody has one vote. If you're a millionaire, you have one vote. If you have no money, you have one vote. Okay? So it has nothing to do with any of that. I understand. I don't want to pay more taxes. Everyone has to remember, we're all residents here. We all pay taxes. But I think we can't allow the infrastructure of our town to crumble while we save money and not pay taxes, okay? But I think everyone has an opportunity. If I want to vote to do an override, I should be able to vote on the biggest override we can vote on. And I should be able to vote on a smaller override, or I should vote on no override. But it needs to be presented to me as a taxpayer, because I think that's the right thing to do. That's American, and it's the right thing to do. That's all I'm saying.
Mr. Chair.
Chris, I'd just like to say that even though everybody's now requesting a letter C for this, you are being presented an override. We did put an A, B together. A, no override, B. So the whole thing is, my look at it, and Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong, if we decide to go with the A, worst case one, there's nothing else to go on about, right? All right.
That would not require an override.
And then the budget's pretty much what it is, besides what Peter put together for it, right?
Yeah, I was going to talk about the two budgets a little bit further.
No, that's fine. If you got more to finish up in there, go ahead.
So I guess the point is, there was urgency for me and Meg to get this done because we have failed to miss so many deadlines, right? And yeah, I'm going to be gone, relatively soon, but I do care a little bit about the work product, and I've worked with so many wonderful people and met so many great people in your community. So I do care. The problem we have here is when Peter and I were working on these two versions, these budgets are put together with a bit of a meat cleaver. They're not surgical, and so what we just felt like, we have a deadline, we have an A and a B. The fire, police, DPW are heavily influenced in these cuts because, guess what, in the schools, sorry, because they're the big budgets. Most other places are 1, 2, or 3 person departments. So I always looked at these as, I meet the deadline, I get it in the newspaper, I post it. One is lawful if the override fails, the other one requires an override. But I said, the select board and the advisory board have 1 month to look at, critique what we've done, and it deserves criticism, and say, nah, we don't like those cuts. We're gonna reallocate them over here. So you would have to do this over the next month, because this should be the select board budget, not the town administrator's budget. So you would have to, over the next month, go through, meet with I would tell you, I would do a one-day, all-day meeting with all your department heads and really scrutinize these budgets, and to see if you can get a consensus of, I don't like Charlie's B cuts, I'm going to reallocate those cuts somewhere else. You're going to have to do that in the next month. You're going to have to do it anyway. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. So.
All I'm saying about that, again, is we're all volunteers, and this is not our full-time job. So it's not realistic for us to take 1 or 2 days of our lives and just sit with department heads all day. I can't ask these guys to do that, and frankly, maybe I could do it, but there wasn't always a time I could. And all I'm asking for is time. Time to do the job the correct way. And I just asked about the C budget because I think the town should decide if they want to pay more taxes as a town, they should be able to do that. No one's raising taxes. The townspeople raise the taxes on themselves, okay? That's what I'm trying to explain to everybody. Town meeting really runs this town. They really do. And if you don't believe that, go to town meeting, vote on something that they don't have money for, and if it goes through, and it has happened, it will happen. It's happened. So all I'm saying is, give the townspeople a chance to review everything and make an educated decision on what they want to do, not what we think they want to do.
Why are we sitting here?
And give us more time.
Wait, Chris, then why were we voted in here if that's the case? I understand we're going to go to town meeting and we should give them decisions, but we should be able to sit down with each department and talk about, okay, do you have a retirement coming up? I agree, I want more time too, but don't forget, we were elected into these positions as well.
No, you should be able to vote. No, listen. What would you say? I'm sorry.
We'll talk to her anytime.
So listen, so you're right, Trish. I mean, you absolutely make the decision on what goes in the warrant. I mean, 100% what goes in the warrant. And you should be able, you absolutely have the right to meet with every department head in this town and get the information you need to make a decision. We do too, and we have not seen a budget. There's a reason that they give you 12 weeks from the deadline for the budget and town meeting, so that we can take the time. I mean, we are the advisory board. We're supposed to advise the town. It's impossible for me, and Peter made a statement about this, but I can say personally, and I'm pretty sure, again, I don't want to speak for everybody, and they can speak differently, but we had a meeting, talked about it publicly. You can watch it. It was last night. And we don't feel comfortable recommending or not recommending anything unless we have the proper time to vet it. That's all I'm asking for. I'm only asking for time. But you're right. I mean, you can decide what you want to present to town meeting, and that is your prerogative, that you are the executive branch of this town, so you are. And these guys, most of them, are volunteers. They're not here because they have nothing else to do on a Wednesday night either. I mean, they're here because they care. We're all here because we care. I believe that.
Yeah, we're all volunteers.
I know that.
It's important to say that what's happening right now has changed
What's the mic?
the town.
Yeah, can you go to the mic?
I'm not.
Well, it's protocol, all right? We have to do it.
Name and address, please.
I voted for you.
Name and address.
I did. But the fact is, your Alicia, right? 147
Street.
Old Ocean. Yep. Just give me a second, all right? I didn't plan on talking.
We're being bullies.
We're questioning the people we voted for, and you might not like it, but we are, and our kids are and our lives are at stake. So while you were elected, the current situation is changing the landscape, and it's just something you're going to have to accept.
You were elected by a lot of people.
Yeah.
A wide.
I understand that. I'm
So
not
so
questioning
so we are going to start questioning every single decision that you make, and we want to see every line item, because there are a lot of other people in this room and in this town that are just as smart and can take a look and provide input, and we're willing to do that right now given how bad things are. So accept that help. We don't want to obviously muddy the waters too much, but like, we're willing to do that.
We've never turned away the help.
No, but I know, but you sound whiny right now.
Really?
You do. You sound whiny.
Come on. Let's have some decorum. Let's not. We're not gonna like throw names and things at people. I think Trish makes some good points, and I think everyone needs to try to work together on this, because we're not gonna get anywhere unless we work together. So, Paul, can you go ahead?
Yeah, I just want to say, a lot of it is data. Just to give you some of the tactical stuff, we see some bottom line numbers, but embedded in this from Meg is thousands of line items and budgets across the town. And when we go and meet with the department head, we're giving them some time. We're going to go through your budget, and we're going to go through line by line. So my question tonight is, my question to the department heads that I've been talking with is, they're not sure where they're at as of, I'm not speaking for all of them, but as of this week. So with a budget tonight, I can't make a meeting tomorrow and go through 200 line items with DPW, police, fire, because I don't think they've seen this either, have they?
So we've gone over the departmental requests with all department heads. We've gone over the A cuts with departments. The one area that they haven't had a discussion is on the B cuts. Or actually, I'm sorry, on the A cut is the no override. That's the one they haven't had a meeting on.
That was their request.
Yeah.
That's the same as the request that came in months ago.
So, I'm
The
sorry.
B, the 4 million over, I'll restate the question.
It gets confusing.
I don't think any department has prepared to sit down with us and go through line item on these two budgets.
I think that they would be on the B budget because we met with them, again, to go over the B cuts.
The B is no override.
The B, sorry. So departmental requests would be no override. We've gone over that with them. B budget are cuts, that's the 4 million override. We've gone over that with them. The A cut, where it's deeper, no override, that's the part that we have not met with them.
So they're all prepared to discuss the B budget.
They should be.
I think, excuse me, Peg Davis, 87 New Street. I think everyone in this room is just asking for more time to do this right so that everybody has a chance in this town to make a decision that they're comfortable with. I don't think that's asking for too much. You're trying to rush this. We're not ready.
Excuse me. We're going to talk about when you're having town meeting tonight. You're right. I've already violated your town charter more than one time. Well, hey, I'm the town administrator. I'm in charge of this, so I'll take some responsibility. The one thing that I know we need to deal with tonight is the election. I just want to remind everybody, the annual election for May 2nd, we have to deal with that. Now, I think that is not optional.
You would have to have the selectmen have a responsibility to notify the town clerk 35 days before the election. Our town election date is set by charter. That election is going to take place on May 2nd. I mean, we have candidates that have submitted paperwork, are relying on that date.
Oh, the election, okay, but town meeting, though. I'm talking about town meeting.
Not
No,
election, but the whole thing is that you're going to have an override question on the ballot.
the selectmen and you all will have input tonight on whether there's an override question on that ballot tonight.
Can't we just put a debt exclusion and override on a special election? Because we're gonna have to face that debt exclusion.
Well,
Hi.
Hold on, there's,
Jackie, the whole thing is that we're trying to avoid a special election for it because it's going to cost the town.
But would we have to have one for this debt exclusion for the?
Yeah, no, not necessarily. If you're talking about the socio vote tech, we can do that next spring. That's the problem I have right now with all these debt exclusions is that, especially with the school roofs and all the work, and any other project in town, is that we're having them in January, costing us maybe $15,000. Nerese can comment on that, but the whole thing is that we should be doing it on spring elections, where it would save us an amount of money. So.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Greg Kai, 59 Canal Street. I've heard people talk about time, even on the select board. Can we make a motion to give more time to the advisory board and get that done right now?
No, we're going to finish the budget. Go ahead, Nerese. Do you have something to say?
What? Basically, our election is going to, we have our election on the 2nd this year, which is, I mean, we've already got our nominations in. The proposition,
So we're locked into it, is what you're saying.
I'm sorry?
We're locked into it. The date's the date right now.
They're not, yes.
Okay.
So the thing is that if we're going to do a debt exclusion or an override, there are multiple ways that we can do it. But, you know, at this point, if we're going to be extending our town meeting and extending the budget and considering it longer, then we probably are not going to be able to put it on we'd have to actually do it tonight, vote it tonight.
That's why we're having the discussion tonight.
Yeah, no, and we'd have to discuss it, come up with a number, because if we discussed it and we came up with a number tonight, we could come up with 3 different numbers. We could come up with 3 different options, but we'd have to have solid numbers for those 3 different options. That's the rule.
All right, hold on. Somebody was making, they're not too sure what Nerese is talking about, so if this can be clarity provided, whether by Nerese or
If you
Sally.
do a debt exclusion on a ballot, on our election, you have to come up with 3 solid numbers. So option A.
Well, you don't
let's
have
just-
to, right? I mean, you could put it down as an override for one option and actually 2 options, I think, right? Yes or no?
You can do 3.
actually, right?
You can do 3, up to 3 options.
You can do 3.
You can do 3. So let's say, no, if you did 3 different options, you have to come up with what it's for and how much it's for. What it's for, how much it's for, what it's for, how much it's for. On the 3 different options.
A tiered override, yes.
Correct.
Okay, so thank you. Nerese is most of you know, is our town clerk, who's been incredibly helpful. Now, I think that was one of the other reasons I was sort of moving to the best of my capacity to get the town meeting warrant posted for the 27th, because I wanted to have town meeting before the annual town election, right? I wanted to have a conversation about budget impacts on town meeting floor before people voted. Now, if we delay town meeting, that's not going to happen before the election. So now you have the choice of, you have the election on May 2nd for elected offices, which we need to do, have to do. And then there's a question of, do you have override questions on that same ballot The only option would be then having a special town election, which I'm not advocating for, but that would be the only way to delay a conversation about the overrides after the legislative body talked about it, so.
I mean, when I look at it is this, Charlie and everybody, is that we have 3 candidates running for select board. And we know that people already have their picks and who they want. So the whole thing is that everybody knows that if there's an override question on the ballot, it's going to draw the masses out. And potentially their candidate may not win. So I also have a, I also have a feeling that that's another factor into why people want this town meeting to be moved in regards to.
No.
Yeah.
All due respect, that's conspiracy, man. What are you talking? Who do you think? Who do you think? Show me the proof, brother. Show me the proof.
That's my.
Show me the proof. Show me the proof. Okay.
I don't have to show you proof. I just give my thoughts on it.
The first I've heard of it.
Mr. Chairman, there's someone with their hand raised on Zoom.
I just have a question. If we know there are 3 numbers and you want 3 choices, can't you just put the 3 numbers on there, or do you have to have it broken down?
You
Does
have,
it have to be?
you have to say what the three numbers are for. What that money is intended to be spent for.
You need a line by line.
No, no.
Well, let Bob answer the question.
If you choose to have 3 tiers, you have to put in 3 numbers on the ballot. It's that simple.
But you don't need a specific, I'm saying.
You need a
description is what
specific
you're
number on the ballot.
No, you don't need a line by line.
No, you need a total.
The number on there, so put the 3 numbers on there and come up with the budget.
You, look at the right. The easiest way to look at this for everybody is the A budget is the base budget. Everything else is supplemental. And if the select board decides, you can have a 1 question, 2 questions, or 3 questions if you want to do that. And all 3 questions go on the ballot for the municipal election, and the highest number that passes by a majority vote wins. And that is the authorization for an override. The amount of money that gets appropriated occurs at town meeting. And that can occur before or after the municipal election. It's not usual, but it can occur.
I don't think anything's happening right now as usual. So the date of the election has no impact?
Well, of course. I mean, the town clerk, the selectmen have to give the election has to be called 35 days in advance.
Mm-hmm.
We've already got an election warrant that needs to be signed because we have officers that need to be elected on May 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
You have no choice. You're too far down the road. You could potentially call another special election with 35 days notice and put another override.
Yes, and
That's
that cost-
simply that.
And that cost for another special election,
Is-
just so everybody knows, is like
Right.
0.1%.
I-
A 1/10 of 1%
And
budget.
if I get a vote on this, I think that it makes much more sense for us to spend the $20,000 that it's going to cost us to run a separate election just for the override. Because I don't. Because I think that spending $3 million, $5 million, $7 million makes a huge impact on our town and on the people who are spending that money. So spending $20,000 is a drop in the bucket for the peace of mind that it's going to give the rest of our townspeople. So I really think having a second election makes a lot of sense.
That's been the point the whole
Well, somebody had to say it.
I think that's the problem right now is that everybody says these little monies that we spend drop in the bucket, and that's why we're in the hole that we're in right now.
Excuse me, Eric. Eric, I think the problem.
That's another opinion, but is that the number? I mean, is that fact? Is that, show me the proof, Eric. Is that the fact that we've been nickel and diming the town.
Chris, microphone.
We've been nickel and diming the town for years and years and years, and that's why we're in this hole. Is that the actual? I didn't see that on your presentation.
No, I think it's been a lack of best practices in terms of forecasting
And a lot of bigger things, right? Big
And
things.
spending. And spending.
This is invest.
That means
This
the
would be.
drop in the bucket 20,000 is part of that spending.
This would be an investment in peace of mind and actual
Well, you know
education.
something you're going to find out depending on where the select board stands in regards to going forward with the override.
I bet I will, because that's your responsibility.
Thing, Eric?
What's up?
Just one thing? May I just say one thing?
So angry.
$20,000, it's less than $1 per voter in this town to put off the election and make a decision. And I'll pay your dollar, Eric.
Any more than that?
Even though you haven't given me a raise in 5 years.
Well, you're making $96,000 a year in a reason, aren't you?
Okay, hold on. Hey, we're going down a hole here.
No.
Let's bring it back. Okay. I mean, we're blowing the agenda too. So, the agenda is supposed to be a budget A and budget B presentation. I originally asked, is it possible, or does it make any sense to offer a budget C option to the town? That's all. It's the select board's responsibility. They are elected, as Trish made a point. They are elected to make these decisions. It is their decision. As the advisory board, we are asking for an opportunity to really fully vet what the impact is for this town and more time to do it. So that's what we're asking for. If it doesn't happen, then that's the decision of the select board, and we'll live with it. We'll do the best we can as a board based on the deadline of the town meeting, which may include a no vote, or an abstention, or we have not enough information. We've done it before, and it's not something that's unusual. If we don't have the information we need, don't feel as a board we can make recommendation, then people are gonna have to make a decision without our recommendation. That's just the way it's gonna go. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to tell them what to do. I'm not trying to coax people to do it. I'm not trying to get more voters out. I'm not trying to do any of that stuff. I'm just trying to give our board a chance, the board that we were appointed to do our job the proper way and the way we want to do it. And that's it. So I'm done with that. If you want to present more A and B budget, do you want to present more A and B budget?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Chris,
So,
can I say one thing?
yeah, absolutely. Scott, hold on. Scott Swain,
Yeah,
Advisory Board.
On the budget A, it has the 57,734.
You have a mic? Yeah, just make sure, bud.
734. That actually has to be updated again because there's a required net spending in Massachusetts for FY '27 Chapter 70 district amount of money we're supposed to spend. So it's going to be probably updated about $740,000. That has to be updated.
Even more reason to delay. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Scott. Back your microphone, name and address.
My name's Casey Tenorowitz. I live at 87 Tower Ave. My time here has expired. It's disappointing to have an important event take place in our town in a room that does not allow for public participation. Sitting on the floor for 2 hours is not acceptable. We have many places we could hold a meeting like this. You knew there would be big turnout. You said it at the beginning. So I would expect going forward that something like this would be more hospitable to the citizens. I also just want to say before I leave, as I don't think I'm losing the point of when you make these decisions here, but you are asked to represent the people when you are elected, but your ability to represent people is to give them a choice, not to choose for them, but to allow them to have an informed choice. So I would kindly ask that this choice be given to people, not that a very tiny amount of people who were elected at this point in time make a decision that will have a long impact. Let all the people who might pay $670 per week decide if that's acceptable in their own budget.
Per year.
No, well, if you do $350 divided by 52 weeks per year, it comes out to $6.70.
Oh, I thought you meant 650.
Oh, no.
Like
$6.
650.
This is sitting on the.
I'm thinking like even the full boat.
$6.70
Yeah.
per year.
Okay.
So thank you for trying to have a thorough discussion with the town. I need to leave and hope that I can find a satisfying outcome at the end of the night. Thank you.
So where are we? So I mean, we've done budget A, budget B presentation as it's going tonight. That's done, right? Completed. All right. I mean, okay.
So we just move on to the select board items, I guess?
Chris, there's someone with their hand raised.
Yeah. Okay. Who is it? I can't see that. Diane Jordan, do you have your hand raised?
Jack Griffin.
Hold on, Diane. Let Jack go. All right, Jack.
I just want to say I've been watching the meeting all night, and unfortunately, I feel the same thing. The delay in the meeting is the right move. Gives us the time to answer the questions, to properly address capital budget articles.
So hold on, Jack. Jack, will you let them? Jack is the chair of the Capital Budget Committee. So
89 Beach Street, Marshfield, sorry.
No, I just want to make sure everyone here knows you are the chair of the Capital Budget Committee.
So I would like to also state that, to be fair, as for everybody in the audience and those that are listening, it's not the current select board that has had these problems. These issues have included past financial practices and transfers that should never happen. I mean, we've had $900,000 left over from the senior center, and it was taken and improved the town hall from a prior administration. Delay's not because of anything that's wrong, it's because they're trying to do things right. They're following the bylaws, people. They're not taking money from completed projects that should have been returned to the project fund. They are repeating the mistakes of the past? No. The reality is many of the problems we're dealing with today were created by prior administrations, not the current board. So before placing blame and understanding where the original issues originated, is the part many people don't want to hear. In my opinion, whether you support an override, ABC, it doesn't solve everything. All departments, including the schools, will need to make reductions. That includes services and positions. The school has mentioned that they did X, Y, and Z, 1.2 million. Most of them were retirement. 1.6. We need to reduct structure of the budget now. We need to get it right. And this is what we need to do. And that's it. I just wanted to say that, and that's it.
Thanks, Jack. Diane Jordan. He would like to delay town meeting as well. I mean, Jack has made it clear that they, as a board, don't even know what their capital budget is right now. So, anyway. All right. Diane? All right, well, if she can figure that out, she can let us know. But we're going to move on.
I do have one question while we have.
Hi, sorry. I'm sorry, I wasn't muted.
Go ahead.
Diane Jordan, Bancroft Street. I want to thank everybody for their hard work on just everything. I think it's very clear that people want more time. And I just wanted to remind the select board that they appointed the advisory board. So I think it is their responsibility to listen to the advisory board with what they're asking for. Why were they appointed if you weren't going to listen to them? Yeah, 15,000 or 20,000 for a special election. It's a drag to spend more money, but there is no way that you can educate the people of this town on these budgets and what the ramifications of each of them is without more time for education in that. And the Board of Public Works will have a meeting and we'll look at everything very, very closely and present it, but not everybody's gonna see that. And you need to be able to present this at town meeting specifically, and then just delay a vote and have a special election for whatever the choice is for override options. And I think that Budget C is the fully funded budget with everything that the departments have said that they need or want. I might be wrong about that, but I think that is considered C. That's why it's not included, because it's already an ask. That's what leads to the $7 million deficit, if I'm not wrong. So that's all I wanted to say. But oh, and then just the fact that it's been 2 hours and it's still a discussion is proof that it needs more time to be discussed. Because if this group of people can't get out of this discussion in 2 hours, how do you expect 20,000 people, or however many are going to be voting on this, to be able to understand it? So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time and effort.
Thanks, Diane. I hope it's 20,000 people.
Yeah. Me too.
Patricia.
Thank you. Tricia Riley, 170 Whitford Circle, former member of the advisory board for many years, and also a former member of the select board. I have 2 questions that I want to confirm that a decision is going to be made this evening on whether or not, A, there's going to be a C budget, and B, whether or not the select board is going to vote to extend the period for a town meeting. Is that decision going to happen tonight?
I don't think we have.
They can't because it's not on the agenda. It'll have to be on a separate meeting.
No, it's on the agenda.
To postpone town meeting is not.
Well, I think on the agenda is 5 and 6 is the vote and posting of the 26th special and annual town meeting warrant. So that sets the date. So I think that's that.
Attorney Galvin. Okay. Awesome.
And I'm sorry, the same thing on there was going to be a vote on the override ballot election question as well. So those have to happen tonight.
Okay.
Now, if we're going to delay annual town meeting, we don't have to vote a new date tonight, but I do need election, I'd need an election ballot.
Again, that's completely up to the select board.
Exactly.
And so is it possible to ask the select board? Would that decision be made tonight? You have a lot of people watching, a lot of people interested, who are hanging out because they want to see how this board votes.
I don't know, we'll have a discussion on it. We'll have a discussion on it, and I don't know if the decision will be made, but we'll certainly have to discuss it.
Will it be a vote, Mr. Kelly?
I don't know what Stiff and Trish and Steve are thinking right now. So we have to discuss about it.
I'm not asking whether or not you're going to discuss
All
it. I'm asking whether there's going to be a vote.
Right. So while we have our town clerk and our school committee and our school superintendent present, what dates do you think would work for an extended town meeting in June? And then once we settle that, I'll make a motion.
I'll make myself available for whatever works for you guys. That's fine. I don't have an issue.
Graduation is the 7th of June, I believe, so the 6th of June. So the 6th of June is graduation. Grad Night Live will be in the school from the 5th to the 7th, so that is a factor as well.
Would Monday, June 15th then make sense? There would be no scheduling conflicts that night or on the tail end or beginning end of something else?
I think that would make sense to us, yeah. Grad Night Live usually cleans up by the Sunday, the 7th, so it could even be the 8th.
Would the Marshfield High School auditorium be the ideal location?
I would likely say so, yes. We should check with the athletic director to see if there's going to be any sports events, but smaller things could always be moved for something as important as an extra town meeting.
Okay, so I move that we extend the budgetary articles for the annual April town meeting to Monday night, June 15th at 7 p.m. in the Marshfield High School auditorium or the gymnasium, based on which is available. Is there a second?
Second.
Well, I need a discussion on this first, please.
I'm sorry, could I?
Why don't we just move the entire town meeting over to that date? You're just saying budgetary, so.
I don't think we can move. Can we move the entire thing?
Yes.
We may need special.
We can open and close it, right? Can we open it and move it to a date specific?
We may need special act legislation to delay the town meeting as a whole, if that's what you want to do.
Can we open, Aunt Jim and I open it and then move it to a date specific? Because we
The
don't have a
section,
quorum.
Chapter 39, Section 10A allows you to move it up to 30 days for emergencies like extreme weather or public health crises. But if you want to do it for another purpose, you probably need a special act legislation, which can be filed by our legislators and it can be done. But the better practice would be to have the town meeting, open it and adjourn it, and do something similar to what we did last year.
My only concern is, based upon the conversation tonight, what am I going to put in for numbers for the operating budget?
Well, you have your base budget, you know what your contingency budget is, and you know what the total amount that people are looking. You just don't have the detail yet. So you put the total, those three numbers.
So right now, I had an A and a B. I'd have A, B, and C.
Yes, and you'd have to supplement the warrant with the additional C stuff. The selectmen can always reopen the warrant, too, to add something.
So I'm sorry, Mr. Chairs. So if I'm going to do that, Meg and I are whispering over here because I'm going to just have to have a gross number in there and provide the detail for the budget as an addendum after the advisory board and the select board review it. I'm going to have to put a gross number. I can't put all the detail in a warrant tonight.
You could take the time to add the detail, but you'd need a number in.
Okay. I just want to make sure everybody understands that, if we do it that way. All right.
I had, Counsel, you said you only can postpone 30 days?
The state law allows the moderator to postpone recess and continue a town meeting for up to 30 days in the event of a weather-related or public health emergency, and that's what
When I was
occurred during
thinking
COVID.
June 15th is further than.
But what we did last year was we opened the town meeting and we adjourned it to a date certain, which was different than postponing town meeting. We started town meeting and we continued it to a date certain, which is allowed.
Okay, so the
So
15th,
the reason why I may be advocating and recommending that we do that again was because we can choose whatever date we want as long as it's in the same fiscal year for the adjourned session of the town meeting. And I think that makes a lot of sense. But, and that would give, Mr. Sumner ability to give the details on the $7 million budget. I mean, we have the budget requests, but it's going to still take some time to put it together and articulate it, and we can add it. But if we know what that number is, we can do that extremely quickly. And we don't have to, the only election warrant that needs to be signed tonight is for the officers for the town, the selectmen, the other elected officials. We can have a separate special election for the override questions, whether they're 1, 2, or 3.
So the motion's been seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Hold on, because one thing I think before we do anything is that. I don't know where you guys are both on the override in regards to that, because I think the override question, I think is a big component whether we move the motion you want forward. So, I mean, are you guys, my look at it is that, and Charlie, give me your thoughts on it. I mean, if two of us are leaning towards no override, is there a reason to move or delay town meeting?
The only reason you'd still might want to consider moving it is that advisory board still hasn't had the courtesy of the details of the budget and deliberation, even if it's a budget that I might not prefer, right? But they still haven't had the time to even look at that. That's the only, and that would be up, I think they should comment on that. And I have another question, but I'll wait.
Well, I mean, at this point, we need to see something. I mean, even if it's not when you would prefer, I mean, without detail, we're not, I'm speaking for myself, I'm not going to participate. I mean,
Mr. Chair, point of
it makes,
I just want to let you know you have a motion and a second on the floor, and it's actually against the open meeting law to take a second motion until action's been made on that motion.
excellent point.
If you have a motion and a second, you have to take a vote before entertaining anything else.
Thank you.
And could I
Thank you,
actually
Mr.
repeat
Costello.
the motion? I was talking to council.
Yes. I move that we postpone the financial articles for the annual town meeting to Monday, June 15th at 7 p.m. in either the Marshfield High School auditorium or the gymnasium, depending on which is available. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions?
I'm going to say no.
All right, so the motion carries 2-1.
Thank God.
Next question. The next question would
Steve,
be...
I'll take it from here, thanks.
Okay.
It's
not over yet.
Excuse us real quick. There's still business to be.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna, all right, you know, I don't know how we're going to do this without her here.
I'll need you to stay.
You know something? We're just going to pause for 5 minutes, all right? Let's get back. We're going to recess for 5 minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, everybody, going back into session. All right, everybody, please take a seat if you're staying. We're going back into session.
Everybody, come on. He does have one.
You know,
Smash it.
all right, ladies. We're going back into session. All right, a motion to reopen the Select Board Advisory Board meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Okay.
and thank you.
All right, so we're going to take up a discussion for an override ballot question and annual, well, actually, the override ballot question, yeah, for the annual town election ballot. But do you guys want to share any thoughts and your positions on that before we vote on it?
Point of order real quick.
Sure thing.
Mr. Chair, very quick clarification that I need to make. It's about in a way about a budget item, but I can't in good conscience, Sean Costello, Winslow Street, Chair of the School Committee. I can't in good conscience sit here as a member of the school committee and see residents who I know are well-intentioned in a lot of ways disparage somebody's character in a way that happened earlier. So I'd like to clarify what was mentioned about our Assistant Superintendent, Tom Miller, who was making a certain contract last year while for many years also doing the duties of the transportation director and receiving an additional $30,000 as a stipend on top of his contract. This year, we rolled those job duties into his job description and rolled it all into one contract. Tom did not get a $30,000 raise as was stated, and that needs to be known because his character is irreputable. Mr. Miller is incredibly, an incredible resource for us to have.
All right, thank you, Sean. All right, back to the override. Steve?
So I've received feedback from a lot of voters, many of whom are here tonight, and I think who will be at town meeting as well, and they want a choice and they want to see a C budget. And the thing is that, you know, based on the rules of the floor of town meeting, you can take a budget number and decrease it or reduce it by whatever amount that you want, but you cannot increase it by more than 10%. So we've at least give folks the option of a budget C. They at least have the opportunity to deliberate and even bring that number down. But if we only give them a binary option that's entirely cuts or a combination of partial override and cuts, that might not be the appetite of town meeting or the majority of the voters. If they decided that $4.5 million or $5 million was the number, they cannot do that if we only present an A budget and a B budget. So I would support presenting a B budget for the full amount to allow town meeting to fully deliberate and make a decision. That's a huge decision for our town that'll have an impact for many years to come.
So what you're saying is, obviously the A budget's gonna be no override. right?
Yeah.
And then the B budget you're saying is that, is it gonna,
Split the difference, for lack of a better word.
well, do you want to put a number in there? Is that what you're looking at down the road? Is the select board, depending on what they stand tonight, put a number in?
Yeah, so my understanding is that what Charlie is presenting tonight for the B budget is a $4 million override, which would be a combination of new revenue and cuts. So budget C, if there is support for that, would be the full override amount, so that town meeting can deliberate and have multiple options to choose from.
Oh, so you want a A, B, and C?
Yes.
Okay, I just heard A and B out here, so you do want A, B, and C. That's what I wanted to make sure on clarity that
Yeah.
that you're looking for.
No worries, yep.
A, B, C, and budget, all right. Trish?
I think I too would consider an ABC budget, but at the same time, I think doing the whole thing is not, giving the whole 7.4 as an override is not fair to the other residents that will be at town meeting. They can always increase it, so if we did 0, 3, and then 5 million.
When you say the 035, what do you?
So,
what do
so
you mean?
0 would be no override, $3 million override, or $5 million override.
Well, that would be our decision. I think right now that's where we need to make the decision, because we have a ballot question coming up that we need to figure out that we're gonna put it on right now or not. So I think we're looking at, do you support putting an override ballot question on the ballot for May 2nd or not?
I do.
You do support. All right, and are you for, well, actually, I think we discussed it afterwards, right, is if everybody or 2 out of 3 support the override budget or override ballot question for this May 2nd meeting, then would we have to
I think-
decide A, B, and C as well?
I think what we were talking, as I recall the conversation, is the May 2nd election will just be the election for offices, select board, et cetera. And then we would have town meeting open on the 27th, deal with the financial articles on the, was it the 15th of June?
Yes.
Continue it, and then the override should be in the Saturday after the continued town meeting.
All right, so I guess at this moment there's
That-
no description. You have to vote on what the override ballot is. It's going to be whether you support an override or not, right?
The only thing I'll say about that is, when I leave this room, I still have to post a warrant, and that means that we're going to stay. Meg and Bob and I are going to stay, and we've got to change the warrant to have a C option. We can do it. But I need to know what the C is. So I really need a vote on that June. Someone will tell me that Saturday after the 15th, somewhere here. But I need to get an idea, what is that override going to be? Is it going to be 3 and 5 million? Is it going to be 4 and 6 million? I need to know that tonight, because that's how I'm going to develop the B in the C budget.
All right, so what you're saying is, my understanding is, A is no override.
Right.
All right. B is going to be for X amount, right?
Yep.
So this is what we need to discuss, is what that B amount is going to be, right? All right, so what's your B amount?
So, I mean, what Charlie has prepared for us in the most detail tonight for a B budget is the $4 million.
$4 million.
So I think that's kind of helps to split the difference between, a potential A budget with nothing and then a C budget with the full deficit. That B kind of splits the difference. Because then, too, on the floor of town meeting, you can reduce the number as much as you want, but you can only increase it to a certain level. So to allow town meeting to fully deliberate, I think in terms of the mechanics of how town meeting works in the process, that option C should be the full deficit amount, and then folks on the floor of town meeting can reduce that if that is the will of the majority of town meeting. So I would support an A budget with no override, 100% cuts, a B budget that's a $4 million override with cuts, and then a C budget that's an override that funds the full deficit amount.
All right, so the way I'm looking at it, because I think Steve is raising something that we're just voting on this for, not to go on the ballot, but to post for the town meeting, because we can take this up in regards to amounts after town meeting, right? Because once we agree to this, the town meeting has no say in it because it's going right to the ballot, right?
I mean, the problem I'm having with this is I'm going to go post a budget, and I need to know what my A, B, and C is. I know what A is. I need to know what my B and C is. So I do need to know what the majority of the board is going to establish for the two override options. Is it 3 and 5? Is it 4 and 6? Is it 4 and 7? I do need to know that because that's integral to me doing the B and the C budget tonight after this meeting.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to
Did I
understand.
tell you I was 71 years
So
old?
it's
You need to have
I usually am in bed by now, but anyway.
So it's part of the, you just need it for the budget, not necessarily the override question. 'Cause we could take the override question up another
he
time,
needs
right?
the number.
You can, but you've already established that by what I have you sign for a warrant tonight. Because the B and the C is going to reflect what you're thinking about doing. So if you delay it later on, now Steve has entered a good point, is even if you go 4 and 6 or 4 and 7, town meeting can reduce it on the floor of town meeting by any sum of money. Can't increase it by more than 10%. So I really do need to know what that override's going to be, because that's how I'm structuring the warrant tonight.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because my understanding that there's no, the override, if we go through with this as an override, it's going right to the ballot. There is no discussion on town meeting floor for it, right?
Well,
This will not be a warrant article because the select board is already going to establish what we're doing. So it's not going to be a warrant article. So the whole thing is that if that's the case, how is town meeting going to change this? So that's what I'm wondering. Are we voting on as an override question for the ballot, or are we going to vote on it as a warrant article?
I'm going to go post the warrant article for the 3 budget options after this meeting. I need to know what those totals are going to be, and those totals are directly tied to what the override ultimately is going. You don't have to vote on the override ballot tonight for June. Anybody give me a date yet?
32 days before June, that Saturday.
So, but it's going to be the same. You know, whatever you tell me to put in for this budget, that's going to be your override. Choices.
Yeah, so that's what I want to make sure, because people are saying, well, we could change at town meeting. You can't change at town meeting. Once we vote on this, these numbers are
You can reduce it at town
We're
meeting.
having that additional town meeting.
I know that, but with the override,
Right.
this one, according to state law, what Charlie gave me, is that once we vote on this, this is a ballot question. It's not going to a town meeting. What's that?
No ballot question tonight.
No ballot question tonight, correct. But if we're voting on this as an override, okay, it doesn't go at the floor of town meeting to discuss, to my understanding. It goes right to the ballot, the
Yep.
way the law is written. Am I correct about that?
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
This will go on the ballot in June.
This
You're
is
not,
what-
you're not voting to establish an override election on May 2nd tonight. You're going to do that 35 days before the 20th of June or thereabouts. So that'll be a May date. You'll pick the override amounts on that date. You'll have your... Well, my recommendation is, look, we can all disagree on the numbers, but if you put the highest number in, you can always reduce it down to any number you want. Town meeting, when it meets on June 15th to discuss the budget question, could take 7 and say, I want to amend that down to 5 or 4.5 or whatever number, but you should go to the higher number if you're going to do it.
All right, so here's my look at it. We're not going to vote, my look is, we're not voting on an override ballot question tonight. What we're looking at is, I think we're just going to motion to direct Charlie to establish the C budget to show everybody at town meeting, correct?
How much?
7.5 million.
Thank you.
Is it, well, let me ask you this much, just the
It's about, it's a little less.
7.4 or 7.5?
You can use 7 for this conversation.
So we'll say well, I think we actually need a number on it, right? Just to be-
7 million.
put 7 million down?
Yep.
All right.
So that's going to be my C budget.
All right.
Okay, that's what I need.
So I'll motion that the select board direct Charlie to establish a C budget for $7 million for town meeting to be presented to the citizens there. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
So for everybody, I think if I want to summarize it so I understand it myself, we can go to town meeting and do our due diligence between now and then and come in with a $1.5 million override and say that's our recommendation. And town meeting can
Right.
take that 7 down to 1.5.
Right.
Yes.
Right, okay, so that's what we'll, good.
Yeah, you could.
That would be lovely.
I would love that too.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Does that vote need to specify the date of which meeting? Because as I understood, there's now a second budget meeting, or have we already established that the June meeting is the budget process?
That's a good question. I think we should establish a meeting date, right? 'Cause we didn't.
So right now, as I understand it, the annual town meeting will be posted and start on April 27th.
Yep. Actually, we could postpone it at that time.
Moderator will open it, deal with all the non-financial items, and then there'll be a motion to continue town meeting.
Yeah.
Yep, to June 15th. So it's the same town meeting adjourned to
Just carried over.
a second date.
Mr. Chair, the principal at the high school texted us to let us know, she's watching, to let us know that the auditorium should not be an issue on June 15th.
Yeah, so I guess everybody just coordinate, make sure that's the case, and we're all good to go. All right, so I have I don't know if Andrew's here or not, if he's watching. We have a,
I'm sorry, I think we have a couple of procedural votes still, right, Bob?
Yeah.
So we do need to have a vote.
all the warrant articles.
Select board on the annual town election to approve in
The warrant for the offices,
the warrant for the offices. So we need to do that tonight.
and you'll have a regular, and you'll have a special and an annual town meeting warrant.
Yep,
too.
yep. So anyway, the first item is we need to vote on the warrant for election of town officers on Saturday, May 2nd. Need a motion?
Is that number 7 you're looking at? Make sure we're on the same page, yeah?
Yeah, town election ballot, yes it is.
All right, so
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question? And might be something for Charlie too. I think there needs to be clarification on the A, B, and C scenario. Is that what we're planning on going forward with right now? Because I didn't hear anything really discussed on the B number, or is that going to wait till May and June?
well, Charlie, to my understanding, already has the B number established. We already know what A is going to be. That's
Yeah, so
B number is going to be the 4 million.
Tom Miller, 89 Ames Way, Assistant Superintendent of Business and Finance. I just want everybody, before everybody starts to leave here, a $4 million override still represents an over $2 million cut to our education for Marshfield. That's on top of the $1.6 million in the last 2 years. That's $3.6 million over 3 years. Please keep that in mind. Thank you.
Anyway, I'm trying to get some procedural things done so I can finish up some things this evening and tomorrow morning. So I do need a vote on the special and the annual town election, but right now, was there a motion for the election warrant for May 2nd?
All right, so when we say the election warrant, we also have a ballot question that is attached to these. So the whole thing is that
Well,
I think Nerissa said she was going downstairs to.
she did. So what this is, an election ballot without any override questions on it, just town offices.
All right.
That's what, from May 2nd, right? No override, because we're going to do the override at another evening, at another date.
All right, so that's going to be the election warrant without override?
That's correct.
And that was May 2nd, right?
Yes.
All right, any questions or comments, Trish, Steve?
No, thank you.
All right, so I move that the board vote to place election warrant without the override question for the May 2nd, 2026 annual town election ballot. Do I have a second?
Can I make a clarification? I think it should be to execute the election warrant, not to place. You want to execute the town meeting election warrant for May 2nd.
All right, so vote to execute the election warrant
Correct.
instead of place?
Yes.
All right, so let me just revise that motion. I move that the board vote to execute the election warrant without an override question for the May 2nd, 2026 annual town election ballot. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 And then I will need a vote on the special in the annual town meeting warrant.
So all that was left on that was pretty much the budget items, right?
Yeah,
And-
you gave me guidance on that. I think everything else, we've gotten pretty much cleared away in terms of all the detail for budgetary transfers and unpaid bills. We can go over those at another meeting. In terms of-
So going with 4, to withdraw articles from special time meeting or ATM, is there any articles that Trish or Steve wanted to see withdrawn?
No, not that we haven't already addressed.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
Correct. And then, all right, the town warrant articles, so we just got to vote in the remainder, is what you're looking at, Charlie, right?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
The advisory board, select board usually hold this meeting to go through the warrant, the special and town meeting warrant, and it's the opportunity for the advisory board to ask questions about any of the other articles. I don't know if you want to do that
You want to pause
tonight.
this for another time, since we're already?
It's really up to you all. We can do this on another
Yeah,
date
you know,
if you
something, I mean,
want.
they've already moved the.
We typically take
Well, we're going to
the,
eventually move the date for it, whatever they want, so.
we
Yeah.
we typically take the entire warrant. The advisory board chairman would typically lead the discussion, say Article 1, what is this about? Does anybody have any questions on it? What's the required vote? And you don't vote them, but it's the advisory board's opportunity to ask questions.
It's also
The other
public
article?
forum too, right? Public
Right.
hearing.
People are allowed to ask questions.
Point of order on this, just real quick, Attorney Galvin. I mean, didn't the moderator run this meeting, that meeting?
No.
No.
Moderator is present.
Yep.
Moderator's
meeting.
present, right.
But the moderator doesn't run it. It's actually run
By-
by the chairman of the advisory board,
Right,
but it's
okay.
a joint meeting of the select board and advisory board.
Right, with a complete warrant, and then we go through each warrant article.
Correct. And you have a complete warrant.
We do now?
Well, you're going to have a C paragraph added, but you know what it is. It just has to be drafted tonight by Meg, Charlie, and I.
Oh, because, I mean, maybe I was misunderstood, but on the agenda it says vote for town warrant articles and to withdraw articles, so that doesn't sound complete to me. But I just heard
No,
there's-
that was in the event that the select board decided they wanted to withdraw any articles for the town meeting.
Right, but that wouldn't be complete
Item
if they
number
did.
5 is discussion on town warrant articles.
Okay, all right, I get it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can postpone that. I'm good with it. I mean, are you guys good with it? I mean, we have more time now, so. And we don't have the moderator. I think he should absolutely be there, so.
Okay.
Okay.
And Mr. Chair, what I'll do when I post and send this to the printer, for now, on most of the articles for the advisory I'll be putting recommendation deferred until town meeting.
Right, and also the statement from the town meeting, budget, what is it called?
Yeah.
Advisory board statement, or whatever it is.
I'll have to write a paragraph that you had inadequate time to review this and you'll make your.
Just make it simple. I'll just tell them I'll write a complete paragraph. Don't worry. We'll do it.
Okay.
So we'll have time to do it, so, thanks.
So the thing is that we still need to establish, I guess, a date to meet with the non-budget articles, because if we're gonna hold town meeting the 27th, we're still gonna have a discussion, right?
Yes.
Unless we're gonna win that meeting and then just postpone it altogether and take everything all the way up to the 15th.
I think you could do it in 2 weeks if you wanted, on the regular night of your meeting, or whatever night the advisory board can get their quorum together. I think doing it sooner rather than later is a good idea.
Right.
It doesn't have to be tonight.
Yeah, so that's what I want to make sure. So we just got to set a date for the next meeting, right? To discuss the non-budgetary items that are going to be discussed on it?
Yes.
All right. I'll let you know what that is, Chris, all right?
So, through the chair to town council, we will need to vote to close and post the annual special town meeting and the annual town meeting warrant.
That's already closed, the warrant's closed.
Yep.
But all you're doing now is,
Signing.
authorizing the execution of the special and annual
Yeah.
town meeting warrants with the C budget language included.
Yeah, the last page of the
So I just need
warrant.
a vote on that, right?
Correct.
And then the board will sign that.
And you could do it in one, special and annual, as presented, with the amendment coming in a form of an 3C.
Yep.
All right. So do we have to vote on that, or is it just, I mean,
Vote to execute.
vote to execute again?
And we're going to have you sign that right after the meeting.
So is authorize all right, or is execute?
Yes, it's.
Authorize?
Execute.
Execute, all right. All right, any thoughts, any discussion on it?
No, thank you.
Trish?
No, I'm
Any
good.
discussion on that?
I'm good.
All right. I move that the board vote to execute the final posting of the 2026 special town meeting and annual town meeting warrant on the town website, to authorize submission of the warrant to the printer, and to direct that the legal notice be sent to the Coastal Manor for advertisement by the end of business day on Thursday, March 26, 2026. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 All right. The only item left, I believe, is Andrew's emergency request in regards to the condition of a building in town. Andrew, do you want to come up to the desk, please, and I guess you can just give an overview of it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks. That's all right. Andrew Stewart, Marshfield Building Commissioner. Thanks for having me. So the property is 95 Flames Road. This is a house that over the years has been a bit of a blight, quite honestly. A lot of the neighbors have complained about it in the past. It's been unkept. It's had damage to it. The owner has historically done just enough to kind of board it up, make it secure, so that there was no, rodents or anything like that getting into the house. But during the last blizzard, the roof completely collapsed now, and it's gotten to the point where it's a complete failure. And it needs to be made safe. It needs to be demolished. We can't get in touch with the owner. So I think that the town needs to take steps at least to do an emergency fence around it and make it safe. It's in a residential neighborhood. It's right next to the schools on Forest Street. So I think that it's paramount, really,
All
to
right.
get it, do that, and then to move to order it to be demolished, or move on it ourselves to demolish it in the name of public safety.
All right, so the motion as stated, conduct an emergency demolition of the property as soon as possible. So are you looking to fence it first?
Well, yeah, we would have to anyway, even if we were gonna demolish it. So I think that that's something that we should do immediately, but that's something I need the select board to authorize us to, to do that, to go onto the property, to put the fence up, and to begin the process of demolishing it. I need that authorization from you, and we need the authorization so that we can.
All right, Bob, is that something I need to add in the motion, is just the select board authorize Andrew to fence as well as demolish the property?
Yes, you'd want to, you're the only one that can authorize him to demolish. I mean, my only concern ever in these things is notice to the owner. I don't know whether the owner is alive or not alive. I don't know anything about it, so.
So I guess the question, Andrew, if were the proper steps, followed in regards to contacting whoever the owner is, if we know?
Oh, yeah, but, I mean, we can always take more steps and everything, but really the most important thing is to just get the fence going. You know,
Yeah.
the authorization from
Right.
you guys to expend the funds to get the fence going, and so that authorize it so that I can go on their property, it's a
No, I
Fourth
understand
Amendment
that.
situation,
All right, so, Bob, should we hold off on the demo part so we know that we've gone through the legal process?
I would
of-
be far more comfortable with the property being fenced off at
Yep.
our expense than demolished.
Okay, all right.
Just have a question.
Yeah.
Couldn't we just add a contingency to the motion that proper notification be given consistent with state and local law? And that way we take care of all of it tonight and Andrew has flexibility to carry out his job?
I mean, you could, but honestly, I don't know whether the gentleman that owns the property is alive or not.
Okay.
So I certainly have given the required notice.
Yeah.
Okay?
He
I mean, we
has
have
notice to
24 hours, basically. I mean, it could have been done.
Right, so it would be moot anyway, yeah.
But there's certainly more steps that we can take, but the most important thing is to get in front of you guys so that we can get the process going, get it safe, secure, then start on the demolition stuff and take more steps to, if we need to locate any living relative or whatever it takes. Similar to the last one, but this one's way more of a public safety concern. Yeah.
Any
I'm
questions
good.
for Andy?
I'm good.
Good? All right. So I'm going to I move that the board vote to authorize the building department to secure the property located at 95 Flames Road excuse me, and further conduct emergency fencing of the property as soon as possible. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. I believe that wraps that up. If there's anything else, Chris, do you have anything final to say before we close out the meeting?
I just need to make a motion and
Have you picked a date
For what?
for your next meeting with the advisory board?
No, you want to talk further about that, or you want to nail down a date now?
what, like 2 weeks, whatever? Do that. I mean,
Actually, when are you away?
the challenge is like just making
It's
sure all of
Monday,
our guys
13th and
we can get a quorum. I don't want to pick a date without being able to poll the board.
Are you gonna, if we nail it around that time, are you gonna care if you're here?
And see if one of
What?
them
Are
works.
you gonna care if you're here?
Yeah, we can do that.
No, I don't, that's fine, I don't care.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
so
worry about
if we nail that week, then you're not worried about it, right?
Totally, yeah, don't worry. Yep, no, thank you.
All right.
We will be, but we still need that.
Eric, if we pick 2 dates, they should be able to make the state one,
This is just about.
you
I know,
know?
there's so much going on right now. right?
This is the non-financial.
I get you the 2 dates, I just don't want to,
Yeah,
Well, he should be able to let you know probably within the next 2 days, if one of them's better.
Yeah, he can circle back with
let me
us.
see. So by that time, we're gonna be in April, so do you have any suggested dates? I think the 6th, we got a select board meeting, at least pending at the moment.
What's today? The
5th.
So, like the 7th or, I can't do I could do the 7th or 7th or the 8th if you have a meeting on the 6th. The 9th? I mean, it's Thursday, but.
The 7th work for you?
Excuse me?
7th.
The 7th work for you?
April 7th?
Yeah, do you want to put in the 7th and the 8th and then check with your the board?
Yeah, we just have to post it for 2 days before.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you'll give a little bit of time.
Right.
We can pull out the board, you guys, 7th or 8th?
Good.
Can you do either?
I see, Ed in there, thumbs up,
Tuesday.
and Finn's probably good.
Tuesday, yeah.
I don't see him anymore.
So Tuesday, the 7th?
Yeah, let's do Tuesday the 7th.
Tuesday, the
What
7th?
time do you want to do it?
I'd say do it at 6. I don't think it's gonna take that long, because we're not doing any budgetary items, we're just gonna be doing.
I'm good with 6. I
Yeah.
like 6. I think most of us can get here by 6. Huh? 5:55? Yeah. All right. Cool.
We don't have to worry about finding parking that day, I don't believe either, so.
And maybe we can actually park at town hall this time.
Yes.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get out. Do I need to do that first?
What's that?
We still have an open meeting, so I need to make a motion to
Yeah,
adjourn.
yeah.
I need to make a motion to adjourn the meeting of the advisory board. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? He's good, we're good.
All right, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn our select board meeting, March 25th at 8:52. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye?
Aye.
All right, Chris.